Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Again, thanks for taking the time to be here. My name is Murali Vidachalam. I'm in IT. I lead cloud data and AI for Gilead Sciences. A little bit about Gilead. Gilead is a research-based biopharmaceutical company located in Foster City, about 20 miles from here. And here are some significant milestones for Gilead. Gilead delivered a cure for hepatitis C, helped transform a treatment for patients living with HIV, and developed a COVID-19 treatment. Gilead has long-term ambitions to bring 10-plus transformative therapies to patients by 2030. And our areas of focus are virology, inflammation, and oncology. And at Gilead, we believe that the confluence of cloud, data, and AI can help accelerate achieving those long-term ambitions and priorities. What I'll talk about is, where did we start the journey? I'll talk about the pain points, what best practices we adopted, but also the trends and opportunities within Gilead when we started the journey. Then I'll discuss the cloud data and AI capability stack. It's a logical stack that I'm going to be talking about. It's about 30 to 40 different services on AWS. Of course, there we adopt Databricks, Informatica, and other technologies. And then I'll talk about the data mesh approach, right? This is an approach to manage data, analytical data at scale, using data as a product approach. And then I'll talk about AI, ML, the traditional AI, ML, Gen AI, and then the third wave, which is Agentic AI, what Gilead is doing in that space. And then some key takeaways, okay? And after my presentation, I'll turn it over to Muddu, who brings an external perspective on the Agentic platform, okay? So anything and everything we do starts with strategic alignment. As you can see from here, the organization's vision and mission, we serve all the business units in Gilead and Kite. Kite is a subsidiary of Gilead. And whatever we do is tied to Gilead's ambitions and also Gilead's strategic priorities. This way, whatever we work on, the technology progress we make is not just innovative, but also strategically relevant, right? And this is the starting point, right? This was 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. We had a fragmented data landscape. Teams were building data lakes in Azure, data lakes in AWS, duplicate capabilities, fragmented organization model, teams reporting into different organizations. Also, the teams in AWS were building the same ingestion pipelines similar to the Azure team. And there were, of course, limited trust in data, lack of data reuse. These were all problems that we started with. And then, considering the best practices, we know that monolithic data platforms, a single warehouse does not scale. We all know that. Top-down data governance does not work. And data movement and data copies actually reduce trust, increase cost. And we heard yesterday from Ali about open data formats. So that was 3.5 years ago. We said, coming from, prior to joining Gilead, I was in IBM for a long time, and I was working with the SAP, with the SAP system, and it was extremely hard to get data out with the semantics intact, right? That's because it's not an open data format, right? So anyway, adopting open data formats was very important. Then you look at the opportunities within Gilead. Gilead had a focus on deriving value from data analytics. Gilead's aspirations required to manage data at scale. AWS cloud, we were migrating from on-prem to cloud, and we have 85% of our workloads on AWS today. And of course, Databricks, right? 3.5 years ago, we evaluated platforms, and we adopted Databricks. And also, Gilead was making a migration from Oracle to SAP. So these were all the opportunities to embark on a new data and AI platform. And then data mesh was emerging as an approach to managing data at scale, and it was pioneered by ThoughtWorks. And I'll talk about that more in detail, including with examples. And then democratize access to data. So this is how we started the journey. And I'm a big believer in organization model and operating model. To me, this is as important as the initiatives that we work on. So in my team, we have a cloud platform engineering team. Even though we have adopted AWS gives a lot of Lego blocks. How do you put those Lego blocks together? For example, a simple account on AWS is a fundamental construct. And it used to take 3 to 4 weeks in Gilead to get a cloud account. So we have automated that. So that's because of the cloud platform engineering team. And so they build capabilities that are adopted by our data and AI platform team. And the data and AI platform team provides capabilities like a data catalog, which is then adopted by our data governance team, and they ensure data quality. And they also work on the enterprise master data across Gilead. Then, in turn, they work within the organization. There are teams focused on the domains, research, development, pharmaceutical development and manufacturing, and also other commercial G&A functions as well. And they adopt the data and AI platform and in turn work with a line of business teams to adopt the capabilities and publish data products in the Gilead data mesh. So any data set within Gilead can be part of the data mesh. So when a data is part of the data mesh, it becomes discoverable, and there are a lot of other characteristics that I'll talk about. And another important thing is, I also lead the enterprise architecture team, so we work with the business. We know what the landscape is today, where they want to go 3 years from now, what are the applications we have in the landscape. That information is very useful in terms of what capabilities we want to build, but also they provide technology governance. So in Gilead, we have 8 BI tools. I came from a 400,000 employee company prior to joining Gilead, and they had only 2. And because of lack of technology governance, right? So every BI tool, any BI tool under the sun is in Gilead because we didn't have technology governance. So that's why this is extremely important. Just double clicking on that. Now this is the stack, capability stack. This is a logical stack. Like I said earlier, 30 to 40 different services on AWS. Of course, we used Databricks, AWS as a cloud platform, Informatica for our data catalog, but also Starburst as our federated query engine, right? And as you can see, when the use cases are implemented, it's implemented on the AI platform, AI use cases. And we have built self-serve experiences on top of Databricks, right? So we just don't use Databricks out of the box. We have extended the user experience by building self-serve and automation on top of Databricks. And of course, the entire stack is governed by the technology governance team. So we do formal architecture reviews to make sure the landscape doesn't get fragmented further. And I want to double click on this. As at the bottom, you can see the Gilead Cloud Platform. Like I said earlier, the team has built capabilities to automatically provision accounts within a day, end-to-end monitoring and observability, cost management, extremely important, right, to keep the cost low on cloud. So we do a lot of things with there. We have a world-class FinOps program. We run competitions every month to lower cloud run cost. And these capabilities are adopted by the data and AI platform team. They, in turn, provide the catalog, of course, integration with Databricks, but also pattern-based data and AI services, and I'll talk about that in a few slides. And then, in turn, the data analytics solutions are built by adopting these capabilities. But we also democratized the whole environment where any team can contribute and extend capabilities from other teams, okay? So this is how we started, right? To build, as you can see, a data engineer, when they collect requirements and analyze requirements, and when they work with and they design a data solution, and then request environment, get an environment provisioned, develop their data pipelines, and then promote that and publish it, used to take weeks to months, okay? So our team has identified 4 major patterns in terms of utilizing Databricks. So there's a data engineering pattern, a data science pattern, AI, Gen AI, and then BI. So each of these patterns have capabilities that are provisioned for the end users. So what we have done is we have automated it. Like I said earlier, we have built a user experience where end users can go to a portal, request access to one of these patterns, and the number of touch points is reduced That is why we have streamlined it. So now adopter teams can get patterns provisioned within hours or days, okay? As you can see, there are no iterative loops, and that's why the number of touch points is less. So now moving on. So we talked about cloud capabilities, we talked about data and AI platform. I want to move on to the data mesh, Gilead data mesh. Like I said, data mesh was a concept that was pioneered by ThoughtWorks, and it's a new approach to sourcing, sharing, accessing, and managing data at scale. And the principles are that you manage data as a product, and domains own the data, self-serve infrastructure, and also federated computational governance. So these are the principles. And when you manage data as a product, data becomes discoverable, understandable, trustworthy, it has context, so it becomes valuable. And the benefits are that you increase the ROI, and you can respond gracefully to change, and very importantly, it can be reused because the data products are analytics-ready, AI-ready data products. Think of data product as a logical collection of physical data assets. So a data could be in S3, Redshift, Enterprise HANA. The end user doesn't care. It's packaged as a product and deployed. And it's realized in a single enterprise catalog on Informatica. So imagine I type in a word called oncology, and I could see 160 data products associated with oncology, and I pick the right one, and with the click of a button, I can request access to it, right? So the access, once the approver approves it, I get access to that data. And it's this approach of data mesh has been adopted by all the business units in Gilead and Kite. Okay? So to further expand on data mesh, we have data mesh domains. These data mesh domains are equivalent to business units. So in our case, clinical development, or pharmaceutical development and manufacturing, or commercial, which is sales and marketing in pharma. And then there are subdomains, right? So in the case of PDM, subdomains are supply chain, manufacturing, regulatory. And when you look at a data mesh domain, each domain will have a lot of data products. Each product will have a lot of data assets. Each data asset will have data elements, and each data element is associated with a business term, which is in the data catalog. So that's how all the data products come together in a single enterprise catalog integrated with access management. Now, I know this is a very busy diagram, but all the domain teams have taken this approach to document the data products in our ecosystem, right? So this data product map is in the sales and marketing space, and it's in the customer centricity and personalization value stream. And each value stream has got a lot of value drivers, and each value driver has got many use cases. And then when you look bottom up, we buy a lot of external data. We buy from 100+ vendors, and we also have internal data. So external data and internal data is actually combined to create a source-aligned data product. Once that is created, the teams work with the business teams to understand how they're going to use the data, and they create consumption-aligned data products. So whatever data products you see in the consumption-aligned, they are analytics-ready and AI-ready, so it accelerates time. What I want to point out here is whatever's in the gray area, it was created by our sales and marketing team, but it's reused by our legal team. So counterfeit medicines is a huge issue for Gilead. It's a $100 million revenue leakage problem. So the legal team uses fraud detection, and they reuse these data products from sales teams as is, so they're able to accelerate the implementation of solutions much faster. So moving on, AI. So we have traditional AI ML that you're all familiar with, and Gen AI, and now the third wave, which is Agentic AI. And at Gilead, we know that AI is going to be an integral part of the pharmaceutical business, but successful adoption requires a holistic approach, right? We do infrastructure, scalable infrastructure, governance, experimentation, data management, security, very importantly, domain-specific expertise as well. We also believe that democratization of access to data, when we put a data catalog out there, where it's easy for end users to discover data and get access to data, that democratization of access is going to be a big driver for AI. And the third wave, which is Agentic AI, we have validated this approach with external entities. We have taken a marketplace approach, an ecosystem-based approach in adopting AI agents, and I'll talk about that shortly. But we have experimented so much now with Gen AI and Agentic AI. We are now focused on high-value AI use cases. And at Gilead, we have an enterprise data science council where every business unit is represented. And their main objective is community building, portfolio visibility, publishing data and AI policies, but also delivery extension. So these are examples of AI ML use cases that are being developed on our Gilead DNA AI platform powered by Databricks. As you can see in the drug discovery, the protein structure prediction is a combination of our cloud capabilities, high-performance computing environment, and the data and AI platform, where the drug discovery teams are able to accelerate timelines in terms of visualizing the protein structure. Development, clinical trial optimization use cases are being developed on our Databricks platform. So PDM, but also, like I mentioned, in the legal team, also working on the anti-counterfeit using fraud detection approaches. With Gen AI, we have 3 tiers of capability at Gilead. The first being out-of-the-box productivity tools. This is, so we have rolled out Office 365, M365. And in the middle layer, you see middle tier, you see low-code, no-code approach of building chatbots. So we have deployed Copilot Studio, Databricks, also Bedrock platform. And as you can see examples, in the middle tier, one would think it's easy to find the vacation policy, but depending on the country you're in and depending on the role, depending on the tenure, the vacation policy can be difficult to understand. And employees used to open a ticket to go understand what is the vacation policy. So now we have rolled out an enterprise-wide chatbot that can provide an answer in seconds, okay? And the third tier is for more specialized use cases. So if you look at a use case like identifying drug targets via scientific literature, these are sophisticated use cases. And we have provided Bedrock platform and Databricks, of course, and OpenAI through the Azure AI Foundry. And as of last week, we deployed a pilot with Claude for Work for deep research use cases as well, okay? So before we get into the agent marketplace, I know this is a topic for debate. What is an agent, right? So let's have a 1-minute discussion on that before we go to the agent marketplace. So, and I took the material on the left from OpenAI. I don't know whether you can see it. The source is OpenAI on the left, Google on the right. But as you can see, with traditional software, it enables to streamline and automate workflows. But with agents, you can perform the same workflows, but the system is doing it on the user's behalf with a high degree of independence. And the characteristics are that agents are using LLM to make decisions, the planning, the execution, but also it has access to various tools. So it can access external databases, things like that. But when do you actually build agents? A lot of chatbots, they are single-turn LLMs, they're not agents. So when do you build agents? It's when there is complex decision-making, when there are a lot of nuances in the rules, difficult to maintain rules. Also, heavy reliance on unstructured data. So if you want to pull semantics out of a unstructured document, or you have to understand conversational interfaces, those are all examples of when to build agents. But there are also important considerations. I attended the keynote yesterday, and they're talking about, I believe, LLM Judge, where you can detect high-quality LLMs and low cost. So those are all design foundations that we are paying a lot of attention to, including orchestration, single agent, multi-agent systems, patterns, there's a manager pattern, decentralized pattern, and very importantly, guardrails, right? So there are guardrails at the prompt level where PII, right, personally identified information, we should exclude that from the prompt, either input or output, including harmful content. How do you filter that out? So guardrails are extremely important when we work with agents. And on the right, you can see we also have to have agent-to-agent protocol, also MCP protocol to access external systems. So that's what we're adopting as part of our agent marketplace. So what is the AI agent marketplace? We have taken an ecosystem approach where teams across Gilead can come and develop, discover agents and use those agents, but also contribute agents. And we have governance for that. So they have to go through a risk assessment framework. If it's low risk, they are automatically allowed to build agents and deploy. But if it's medium risk and high risk, they have to get approval. And then those agents can be developed and deployed into the marketplace for others to find and use them. But the user experience has to be great. So we have a single engagement layer, a single interface where end users can come and instead of, we have several chatbots across the company. Instead of going to those interfaces, they can come to a single interface and ask prompts from different domains, and the supervisor agent that you see below the engagement layer detects the intent and the right agents to call, and it orchestrates the agents to provide the response back. And as you can see, I have a couple of different colors, specialized agents. Those agents can be developed by the Gilead teams, or it could be third-party agents, right? So we are working with AWS to bring third-party agents in the clinical space to make it available to our clinical teams. And all of that is governed. And like I said, cost is extremely important, quality is extremely important, explainability, integration with responsible AI is extremely important. So we have validated this, that a lot of enterprises are taking this approach and to help the user experience. So this is our development workflow for agents, right? So in the planning stages, we provide a workspace, and then for experimentation, they can take a low-code or a coding approach to building the agent, and then and they can deploy using the CI/CD pipelines into the AI hub experience. Now, a lot of this is automated today. We're working on automation, but we're also closely watching what Databricks is doing in this space, because we don't want to go custom create something which could be out of the box with Databricks. So we work closely with Databricks, and we are under NDA, and we also know the roadmap for the next 6 months. So we try not to build things that we can be adopted out of the box. So adoption. So our Gilead Cloud Platform that I referred to in terms of capabilities that we built on AWS, SAP runs on it. We process over 70% of our revenue. Gilead has $25 billion annual revenue, and we process 70% of it in our Gilead Cloud Platform. We have reduced our carbon footprint, the same workload that runs on-prem, since we have migrated 87% of our workloads to cloud. We have reduced our carbon footprint. Gilead DNA Platform, we have more than 1.5 million queries now per month run on a Gilead DNA Platform. It is adopted by all the business units. And as you can see, the research scientists are running 32,000 predictions a month in the preclinical space. And all of the data lakes for all the domains are in the data platform as well, and all integrated by one enterprise data catalog. Okay? So what are the key takeaways? So we believe that the convergence is accelerating innovation at Gilead. And in terms of strategic alignment and operating model, the alignment of what we work on to Gilead's long-term ambitions and priorities is extremely important. The double hub and spoke model that I showed as an organization model is extremely important, where centralized infrastructure and anything above the stack, as you go higher up in the stack, it's decentralized. That's how we scale, right? We don't want multiple teams building the same infrastructure, but we want teams to adopt the centralized infrastructure. So the double hub and spoke operating model is extremely important. Technology, infrastructure, and data management. We all know scaling AI requires robust cloud infrastructure, but there are workloads which requires 24/7 GPUs. So we have GPUs in our data center that's not on cloud. Also, self-serve and automation is extremely important to make it easier for adopter teams to actually manage data at scale. And we also know adoption of data mesh helps us to make any data set in Gilead discoverable. And the agent marketplace, we are trying to make both custom-built and third-party agents available through the marketplace. And in terms of technology, data, and AI governance, as I mentioned earlier, technology governance is extremely important, especially these days. There's a lot of vendors probably walking your hallways as well, trying to sell you independent, standalone Gen AI solutions. Without technology governance, your landscape will be fragmented. So we take that extremely seriously to make sure that duplicate agents or duplicate Gen AI solutions are not in the landscape through technology governance. Robust data governance is important, of course, for trusted data. And AI governance is becoming increasingly important, especially with the EU AI Act. And there are a lot of emerging regulations. And the risk framework, AI risk framework, is extremely important to integrate with your operational systems. And then in terms of operational excellence, the marketplace is helping us to streamline governance, a single entry point. It also helps to drive adoption, but also prevent duplicate agents being built. We are focused on high-value use cases. And in terms of operational excellence, I cannot stress this enough. We put so much focus on FinOps program because cloud cost for us, is exponentially increasing month over month. So we have a world-class FinOps program, a holistic approach in terms of architecture reviews, monthly calls with all the vendors that we work with, AWS, Databricks, looking at the cost everywhere, right? And running cloud efficiency competitions. We give awards for the teams that reduce the cost most. So it's a holistic approach that we take with Cloud FinOps program to keep our costs low. But also cloud fluency, we provide a lot of free training, data literacy programs as well, educating our end users on how to work with data. Self-serve and automation, extremely important to provide a service in terms of easy to use, okay? That concludes Gilead's presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Muddu, but before I turn it over to Muddu, I do want to acknowledge Scott and Jake. I don't know if Jake is there, Scott is there. Our Databricks best account team is assigned to Gilead, so I want to thank Jake and Scott over there. And I'll turn it over to Muddu. So Muddu is going to provide an external perspective on agentic platforms. He is local to the Bay Area. He's a serial entrepreneur. And I'm going to turn it over to Muddu. Yeah.
All right, you guys can hear me? Yes? Okay, good. So as I think, Murli, you did a fantastic job. And again, I want to congratulate Jake and Scott if they're there. I don't know, I see Scott there. So my name is Muddu Sudhakar. I'm a founder, serial entrepreneur. So what I do is I work with customers like Murli on doing various levels of building platforms. So the one that I want to talk today is agentic platforms. There's a lot of challenges. Think of this slide as a glass half full. I'm not complaining or anything, but the key right now is, as Murli talked about, the data used to be siloed. You have Databricks doing a good job with creating data lakes and all of the above, but the processes are still siloed, whether it's a finance process, IT process, whether it's in the areas of, let's say, HR or sales, right? That has not changed. Apps are still distributed. There are many apps and systems all over the world. Systems of record are very complex. I don't know to you guys, but when I talk to customers, they don't know how to use, let's say, for example, Workday, ServiceNow. ServiceNow is so complex. I used to work at ServiceNow. It's not an easy thing to use. Right? People don't know how to use it. That's where the whole idea of this agentic and AI is coming, right? Then you need to have subject matter experts. People don't have subject matter experts for each of the apps. Like we are going at a point where agents should do all these things, right? So given all those things, how do you create and uncover the business challenges that are hard to find in an environment? And given all these challenges, and these challenges will continue to exist, and by the time next year, 2026, we'll probably solve some of these and new challenges will come. But this is what I see today in the adoption of agents and AI in the market out there. Have you guys heard about Jensen's law? You guys heard about Moore's law, right? That's what I call it, Jensen's law. What is happening? Data has been doubling for the last 40 years. I'm 25, guys, right? I'm a teenager. Think of it like. So given that, look at Jensen's law, guys. Jensen's law says computing is almost doubling every 6 months. Data is doing a very good job, doubling every 2 years, but that means there's enough compute capacity. When I wake up, the number one capacity that I worry about is electricity and data centers today. If you are working with a large organization, Murali talked about 400,000 employees or 100,000 employees, the power right now is important. Building out data centers, that's what you're hearing in the news, where you're talking to Sam Altman, Satya at Microsoft, AWS, Matt Garman. He worried about scale, data center, computing capacity, etc. They're buying nuclear reactors. So there'll be enough computing capacity. The question is it cheap? It's not. And where is expensive? So whatever DeepSeek has done from China is actually good for us, good for everybody in mankind, wholeware, because it reduced the cost of the LLMs. We need to reduce the cost. Like he talked about having a good FinOps program. You need to have a good AI ops FinOps opportunity within your companies. Somebody should wake up, cut your cost on AI and agents. The only way that's going to happen is by looking at, because compute capacity is doubling it every 6 months, but the cost is still very high in GPUs and CPU. So given this, how do you select an AI vendor? A lot of metrics, selection criteria. And some of it I've listed here, but it's up to each of your organization. What works for you is different. Like first is, it's not just about looking at LLM or SLM. You have to look at what AI services they offer. Look at if they offer any vibe coding. You don't want to select an LLM vendor if it does not do vibe coding. I don't want my employees to write any more code. I don't know how many of you guys are programmers here. Raise your hand. Awesome. Do you still want to write code? See, he's saying no. He's in the front row seat. Nobody wants to write code, guys. Use vibe coding. I mean, this is what, if I'm looking at, I want people like Databricks to adopt agentic platforms like this because that will be the new future. So you talk about vibe coding. Then I think Murali talked about deep research and code assistance, math operations. So when you select an LLM, look at all these metrics in choosing a vendor. Now, what are the killer apps out there? It's been 2.5 years since ChatGPT came. I call them ADBC moment. Before, like, you know what is ADBC, right? Before that kind of thing. So think of like ADBC happened in October 2022. After that, what are the killer apps? It's still ChatGPT, maybe Microsoft Copilot. There's no killer app today. When mobile phone came, my phone is full of apps, whether it's playing video games to other things, right? We need a killer app, third party out of the box. And these should be adopted by organizations across the world. So I see right now the year of 2025 will be known as code assistance and vibe coding. It's already made sense, like whether you're Cursor, Windsurf, they're just taking over all over the world. So code assistance is clearly a good killer app. People are waiting for in finance, business operations. Imagine you're a CFO, your revenue management, your account management, your expense management. There's no killer app there. Like if I'm a sales rep, I don't even want to use Salesforce tool. I want it to automatically take my opportunity, enter it there, to that. I need an AI agent which will do outbound hunting, opportunity hunting, closing the reps. Right? I want the humans to be more efficient. I want each salesperson to handle 40, 50 accounts, not 4 or 5 accounts. It has to happen. The operational efficiency has not come in. So we are still lacking a lot of killer apps in the market. So there's a turf wars going on. This is the greatest time in the mankind. Like if you are in Silicon Valley, I've been here for the last 35 years. This is one of the best times, guys. All kinds of wars going on. Like right now, Microsoft claims that they're in all those vertical categories. I could have added ERP, finance too, but I've just added few categories. This is an article from the Information Magazine. It's not my article. Like if you look at Wall Street Journal, Information Magazine, they're posting these articles, right? So if you look at it, everybody wants to be there. Like ServiceNow claims they are in sales. Really? They're a ticketing company. How can they be in sales? They want to be like, I grew up, I want to be in God. Do you think I'll become God overnight? I can't. We all have aspirations, so everybody wants to get in every area. But it's not easy to get in, right? So if you want to create an agentic web, like Murali talked about all the building blocks, what he's doing at Gilead. There are 6 or 5 building blocks that I talk about here. One of them is you need to have an agentic platform. Whether you build it or buy it. If you are like, you have lots of money, you are like a Las Vegas casino, go build it. Otherwise, buy from somebody. You should not building it. Build is done, guys. Last 2 years, every company started building it, you are done. If you're building it right now, you can't show ROI to your organization. Your CFO will wake up and do unnatural acts. How about that? Second thing is vibe coding we talked about. You have to have a vibe coding and coding assistant in your platforms. You should have a marketplace. Murali talked about it. A marketplace with, like, think of like Apple App Store that we all use. In your company, you should have an app store of your company. Right? Doesn't matter what our company you are. If you are Gilead, there should be a Gilead App Store and marketplace where Gilead will build some, I will build some, third-party vendors, Databricks will build some agents. All of them should be available. Other thing is MCP server. You guys heard about MCP server, and Murali showed about A2A. between Google and OpenAI, that agent-to-agent interoperability. Agents cannot be isolated. It can't be an island. My agent should talk to his agent, your agent should talk to me, we all should talk, whether that is common language, English, Spanish, Chinese, Indian, doesn't matter. You guys have to go to the like. So if a vendor comes to you and say, I have my agent, first thing I'll ask is, does it interoperate? Does it have MCP server? Does it work with other marketplaces? If not, just don't even do POCs and RFPs, throw them out. Other thing, Microsoft recently launched something called NLWeb. What does NL stand for? Natural language. Your website, externally and internally, should become natural language. You shouldn't be writing a websites anymore. I should write prompt engineering. You should say, come and say, give me a web page for this session. I mean, that's my vision that I have. Like, to do the presentation, me and Murali, we probably worked a couple of days to do this. I don't want to be doing that. I want my content presentation should come from my natural language voice or text into the web. It's going to happen, guys. It's a question of time. So these are the 6, if you can do this, you will improve your organization efficiency. You will save money for your companies. So with this, now let's double click on what's an agentic platform looks like. First thing is, it should work with all your system of record. SOR stands for system of record. I don't have any preference, whether that is ServiceNow, Salesforce, Workday, pick your choice, Dynamics, all of the system of records, Oracle of the world. Business, every company has some workflows. Murali talked about technology governance. He talked about business governance, data governance. Every company has some workflow with a governance. You have to work with existing workflows. The problem with all the new age companies is they want to redefine the workflows. If I walk into Goldman Sachs, I already have a process. If I walk into Gilead, they have a process. You got to learn, adapt, and use that. You can't say, here is my agentic platform, rewrite the thing. That's what all these open source products are doing. It's not going to scale. So this is a business process workflow needs to adopt into something. Then finally, communication. Users could be in Teams, Slack, email, voice, any of those things. Documents. You probably heard last 2 years about the word RAG and LLMs. I should support my content anywhere, any shape. Structured, unstructured. Databricks done a great job with creating a data lake. All the data will come from there, right? So assuming you have this agentic platform, the next thing is, how does the tech stack looks like in agentic world? The bottom layer, everybody knows, the cloud infrastructure, right? Pick your cloud choices. There are only 3 left right now, or maybe with Oracle 4. Then you have the SaaS and SOA. Even though SaaS and SOA are being replaced and there's a death to SaaS that people talk about, they'll be there for next few years with their data. Then you have the Databricks offering the data lake with 0 copy. Why do I use the word 0 copy? Data is never going to be in one place. If you try to do that too much, you're going to hit a wall. So try to do a Databricks as a fundamental platform, keep a pointers to everywhere. Whether the data is in Box, whether that's in Fabric, whether that is in Google BigQuery, BigCloud, you can try to get it wherever point. Then the platform should sit on top of that, Agentic AI platform. And then offer blades on top of it, whether it's a finance blade, sales blade. So this is the razor approach, and the blades are specific agents in the marketplace. And if you double click on that, this is what you need. First thing you need is, you need an agent OS. If somebody is offering you an agent OS, try to either build it or acquire it. Think of like Red Hat and RHEL that happened with Linux community. You need an agent which has observability, it has monitoring, it has debugging, authentication, security. Then the agent library. You need your vendors to give you hundreds of agents, not 1, 2 agents. It's like buying potatoes. If somebody is not offering hundreds of agents, they are not the right vendor right now. With how much of vibe coding, most good vendors will give you 50, 100 thing in a library right now. Then comes the building, because you may want to build your own. You don't want to rely on me to build it. Not only you, your business groups may want to build it. You want to democratize it. What did Murali talk about? Democratizing the AI and agent. And that's where the workflow builders will come in. Then on top of that, all the guardrails, the security, the governance will come in. And finally, how do you want to expose this? You want to expose through voice, you want to expose through a Copilot, you want to expose through Slack, Teams, any type of user interface, the browser, etc. This is what I call a stack agentic architecture. Once you have this, and the next thing is, how do we connect to your data lake house, right? This is where the Databricks comes in, talking to all the SOR. The type of graphs. For agents to work, you need to graph, guys. Graph is an important aspect. Knowledge graph is not easy to build. It's easy to say the word knowledge graph. Building a knowledge graph of your data is a very important aspect. Similarly, you may want to build transaction graph. If you're a finance, you got to build user graphs. You may want to build resource graphs. Think of all your Kubernetes, your CIs. So building a graph structure is a key aspect on top of Databricks platform. Databricks has exposed so much, it's you guys have to do it or find a vendors who will offer these graphs on top. Once you have all of this, then the next comes in the workflow. If you have a workflow already, the word people use called agentic workflow. The evolution is it went from, it's not your traditional RPA, that's your grandfather's company. If you use the word RPA, OCR, like in Silicon Valley in the AI world, they look down upon you. I mean, there's something's wrong with you. Like, you have to leave that thing. I would not even bring it up. Like, if it's not a cool thing to go to a bar and you bring up an RPA, right? So, similarly, Gen AI workflow. Gen AI is already old, 2 years old. Now it's all about agentic workflow. The workflow should be able to make its own decisions. It's not rule-based. It's like human. What do humans do? We wake up, we complain, we do all the things. Same thing agents should do too. They should act like a human. It's probabilistic. It is not deterministic. Don't try to force it to be deterministic by adding this governance and the rules. Then you will screw it up. It has to have governance too, but it has to have its own probabilistic nature. Humans have a governance. We have the lay of the land. The land of the law of this country we have to follow. Does not mean that we are not humans. Same thing with agents. Provide all the governance, but let it make its own decisions. Don't micromanage it. That's the whole point here. And these agentic workflows should work with any system out there. They can create it through, vibe coding, you can come and say, give me invoice workflow. Give me onboarding of an employee workflow. Give me a workflow to close a purchase order or creating a PR request. System will generate it, it will leverage your existing workflows and operate on it. So this is not the traditional thing that you talk about from ServiceNow, UiPath, like that's old, guys. If you're doing that and trying to retrofit into your data platform, you're going to fail. That's not AI and agents. So what is the tech stack look like? There are lots of vendors out there. Like, I didn't want to go through everybody, but I want to give you an eye chart kind of a thing. There's a front end. What should be the front end? Pick your choice, right? I'm not tied to memory. Memory is an important. Context and memory in agents is important. Pick a vendor who wants to do it. Agentic tools. Tools includes both orchestration, building of an agent, content generation, code assistant, browser assistants. You have to look at that. Agent observability. Are agents doing the right things from tracking, debugging, etc.? Orchestration. Finally, LLMs. Everybody is familiar with LLMs, right? And the last one is the data cloud. There, obviously, you should go with Databricks because we are here in Databricks conference. I'm a fan of Databricks, right? What are the challenges out there? A lot of challenges still. Remember, talked about. Right now, the 4 challenges in agents is reliability, then comes scalability, data quality, and performance in that order. Performance is not a problem, guys. As I said, CPU is doing. The number one problem is build agents and run it reliably. It's like a human. One reliable human is worth more than 10 people. Like that, I would have one good agent doing the job reliably. I'm not going to do 80% and 20% fail. 20% failure is a lot in agents. Like Murali talked about 1.5 billion transactions at Gilead. So you cannot have agents fail even 20% of the time, maybe 1%, 2%. So your success rate from metrics should be 90-95% in terms of reliability. So if you take this, where does it lead to in terms of ROI? Look, cost is one factor for sure. But there's scalability we talked about, quality and resiliency, I just mentioned it, and at the end it's a business agility. If your business is running not faster, and if you do all the cost saving, it's not going to help you. So business agility is the key metric that I look for. With this, what are the takeaways, guys? Number one is all about looking at accelerating the business process. If you wake up and if somebody is asking you ROI, your CFO, he is not ready for AI agent. You're not a mature organization. I would not do it. If I'm on your side or other side, I'll just end the sales call right there, or customer call. Like if you start being able to say, what is ROI, then you just don't understand with AI agent. With the national sovereign interest, whether you like political parties or not, like with countries like US, India, China putting so much effort on AI, it's very important to do focus on business process. Second is ROI comes in. Third, cultural change. Are you culturally ready for AI and agents? If you're not ready, it's okay. Not everybody should do it in 2025. It's very important that you have to ask your question and make sure you're from the top, CEO to CFO to your chief AI officer, they all are looking at the culture, right? Security is the most important aspect, the permission, the access control, the granular control, who should have access to what agent, who can run the agent, who can upgrade the agent permissions. All of that should be taken in the governance that Murali talked about. And finally, I mentioned the interoperability. If you don't have agents interoperable, because tomorrow you may start with me, you may go to somebody else. My agent should be interoperable. Think of the apps that came in within the Apple ecosystem or Android ecosystem, the App Store model. So they may work with more than one ecosystem, but they have to work still. To me, these are the key takeaways. If you can follow this principle, you can see your company moving forward and realize the value and ROI. I think that's probably the end of my session. Thank you, folks. Hope it was useful.